Getting rich quick is not a bad thing. I got rich quick, okay, because I followed this framework of make, manage, multiply. The true measure of success isn't how much gross profit you can make. It's really about how much you can make per hour. Who's got the better life? The guy who makes $500,000 a year working 4 hours a week, or the guy making $700,000 a year working 40 hours a week? Like, looking back at my life and what I did and like what I truly believe as I talk to young people who are trying to figure out what they should do, it's become very clear to me. This is the path. Okay. You want to make money quick and you want to build your wealth fast? This is the path. What's going on, wealth builders? It's Ryan here, back at you with a solo podcast. And let me tell you, I got something I want to clear the air on. It's actually something that's been some self-discovery for me on what I actually believe it takes to build wealth. Now, if you watched the recent solo podcast, I talked about the Wealthy Way and how we're doing the Wealthy Way 60-day challenge. Shout out to all of you who are doing that right now. It means a lot. You know, living the Wealthy Way is definitely one aspect of this as far as the rest of your lifestyle goes. But there's a framework that I've always talked about, but I've never really formalized when it comes to the actual business portion of the Wealthy Way. Like, what do I actually believe is successful for business? And what are the steps to achieving success? Like, is it becoming a millionaire? Is it having a certain amount of passive income? Is it financial freedom? Like, what actually defines business success? This is a very subjective question. And once you arrive to whatever that answer is, how do you go about achieving it? And so in this video, I'm going to tell you what I believe business success looks like and the process it takes to achieve it. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of ways to have business success, and I think that we can help you do that one way or another as long as it's very clear on the steps to get there. So that being said, I had a very long brainstorming session with the team, and we've narrowed it down into a very simple formula that you guys can use, and it can help you identify what stage of business you're in. So the formula goes like this. It's 3 M's. Make, manage, multiply. Very simple. So let's talk about the 3 stages. Stage 1 is to make, okay? You got to start making money. Now, for years, I've said you need to develop a major money-making skill. That's kind of what I've called it. To make it even more defined, you got to figure out one skill that can make you $250,000 a year on your own, okay? Whatever that skill is, you need to figure it out. And I can help you figure out a few of those skills. Like, I've developed many different skills that can do that. But in the end, right, I see most people struggle because they're always chasing all these different skills, right? They're like, well, I might go get my realtor's license, and then, I'm going to go work my job, and then I might start making a little bit of content here, and then, I'm going to go try this other business or this other side hustle, and whatever the case is. And they're never great at any one thing. They're just kind of like mediocre at a bunch of different side hustles. Like, no, you got to figure out how to make $250K in one thing before you worry about anything else, okay? If you follow my career, I wasn't very good at, real estate as a realtor, but eventually I learned how to flip houses. And that was my first time graduating this first stage of make, okay? Make 250. It wasn't until I started flipping houses that I finally made over $250,000 in 1 year, okay? This was in year 3 of flipping houses, by the way. I went $50,000 year 1, $200,000 year 2, so I almost got there. In year 3, I did $750,000. And so that was the first year I really graduated, and I added a skill that I could always bank on, because at that point I knew I could flip houses the rest of my life and be good. If I never developed any other skill, if I never went down the path any further, I know by myself I could go make $250 a year flipping houses, and that was my skill. And there are lots of ways to make $250, okay? I think house flipping is a great way. And I'll talk about why I think house flipping is maybe one of the best ways, and real estate in general is one of the best ways. But I've seen people do it in other ways too. I got lots of buddies who are content creators. They make over $250 a year strictly from making content. They get YouTube ad revenue. They get sponsorship deals. They're the full-on content creator / influencer. I've also got lots of buddies who are digital marketers. These people are just really good at creating online products. They're really good at running ads. They're really good at creating funnels. They're really good at doing sales. And from these skill sets as digital marketers, they're able to go make 250 grand, right? And they use that skill set in different ways. Some of them have their own coaching programs. Some of them simply run affiliate offers for other people, right? Did you know that? That if you were really good at digital marketing, you could actually just take my products, as long as I let you, and you could go affiliate my products and go make over $250,000, right? I've done affiliates for other people. I've promoted other people's products where I've made six figures, right? Just promoting it. I didn't have to fulfill it. I didn't have to create it. I didn't have to build a brand for it or a new company for it. I just took what they already had and did an affiliate. So, there's lots of ways on the digital marketing side if you're looking to be online. I see other people who start just normal businesses, right? I've seen people couch flip their way to 250 grand a year. Okay. I've seen people, start just different online brands, whether it's like clothes or things like that, where they make over 250 a year. And when I say make 250, I'm not talking revenue. All right. I'm talking net. You need to net 250. Okay. 250 that you get in the bank that you could go live on. Okay. Because, if you go into the t-shirt space and you go do 250 of revenue and your margin's, 20%, it's great. You just made 50 grand. You are by no means balling, and you're definitely not like, you don't have this great skill yet. Okay. Now, if you go and sell $1 million of product at 25% margin, you do net 250 grand. Cool. You've done it. You now have graduated level 1 of the game of business, as far as I see it with the Wealthy Way. So, with Make, just pick a skill. All right. Like, there's lots of skills to pick. I think that with Wealthy Investor, we can help you get there with real estate. And let me tell you why I think real estate's the best one to do. Okay. Number one, there's lots of ways to make 250 in real estate. Okay. You could flip houses, right? You could flip 10 houses at 25 grand a pop. You're at 250. Okay. If you're flipping higher end homes, 5 houses at 50 grand a pop. That's 250. All right. You could wholesale. Once again, maybe your average wholesale fee's 10 grand. Go wholesale 25 homes, 2 a month. You're at 250. So those are 2 great ways. But even a third way, Airbnb. Okay. Now, once again, with Airbnb, I'm not talking about your gross revenue from Airbnb, right? Like, my gross revenue last year in Airbnb was like $500,000. I did not net 250 from that. So I wouldn't have considered that. But, if you grossed $1 million and you net 250 on Airbnb, it's totally possible. I know people that do it. I knew that they do it through Airbnb arbitrage, right? That's why we created ProHost with Wealthy Investor. If you didn't know, we teach people how to do Airbnb and do Airbnb arbitrage to start out. I think that's a great way to get started in real estate now. Flipping and wholesaling might be intimidating, but everyone can go do Airbnb arbitrage. They can go rent a property and start making cash flow immediately, right? And so I think those are all great ways. And by the way, if you're interested in ProHost, you can go to wealthyprohost.com. But the reason I like real estate the best, after trying many different side hustles and things, is because it's not only able to get you past stage 1, but it helps you in all the stages, okay? Because real estate's one of those things that you can invest in long term. It can be the skill that makes you a lot of money, and it's also the skill that helps you multiply when you get to stage 3, okay? Whereas couch flipping, you go and get to 250 flipping couches, but there's no way to invest flipping couches. Like, it's just strictly an active income type deal. It's stage 1 type deal, and you're done. So I like real estate as a skill overall, and it just kind of prepares you for other businesses later on down the road. That's what it did for me. It taught me sales, marketing, operations. I learned to negotiate, be a good salesman, and then eventually I was able to start other businesses. So anyways, the moral of the story and the point I want to hammer home is, if you are not making 250 net, you have not graduated stage 1 of anything, and you do not deserve to go look into stage 2 or stage 3 or start other businesses or anything else. You are just wasting your time. You need to become an expert at one thing first. Okay. Now, here's what I will say too, before I jump into stage 2, is that I do believe you can try other things. Okay. So maybe you try real estate and you just don't like it. Okay. And so you try something else. You go into day trading, Forex, whatever. Like, I don't know. But it's okay to try something and not like it and try something else. You may end up coming back to it. That's what happened with me in real estate. I realized real estate agent wasn't the play. I did it for a couple of years. I quit. And eventually I came back to real estate in a different way years later. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with trying multiple things, but you got to give yourself enough time, right? Don't just try real estate for a month and be like, dude, this sucks. It didn't work. You got to give it time before you are willing to just go quit and try something else, okay? And also don't try like 5 things at once. That's the wrong approach. Saying like, okay, I'm going to try all 5 of these and whatever sticks and jumps out first is what I'm going with. Like, no, okay? That's not the right way to do it. Brainstorm your 5 things you want to try that could get you to 250 and then pick one and go all in on it. That's how you're supposed to do it, okay? So we're very clear on what stage 1 is. Make 250 net. Now, stage 2, manage, okay? This is where you start to scale, and scale is going to come in 2 ways. 1, it's going to come with generating more income and revenue. And 2, it's going to come with getting some of your time back because now you're learning to hire and manage people to do your job for you, okay? And so really the next stage of 2 is getting to $1 million, all right? How the heck do you get to $1 million? Now, some of you guys don't want to make $1 million. Like, that's fine, all right? With $1 million, I believe that, things can change dramatically in your life. And, I do still have to define how I want stage 2 to be truly clear because netting $1 million in a year is very difficult. What I'm going to say for now is once you have net $1 million overall with this skill, okay? So maybe you do 250 for the first time and the next year you do another 600,000, 700,000, whatever, right? Cool. Like once you get to the $1 million net mark in your career of doing this skill that's making you at least 250 a year, I think you've conquered stage 2, and you're doing it in a way that's not just you. You're doing it in a way with other employees who are doing your job for you. Because guess what? Once you start hiring people, your net profit goes down, okay? When you're running everything by yourself, your net profit's like 100%. But you go and hire salespeople and admins and marketing people, like your margin starts to get cut. And so what happens in a lot of businesses during stage 2 is the revenue is jumping, but less money is going in their pocket. And this is like hard for entrepreneurs to understand because they'll be like, well, I was making more money when I was doing it all on my own. Well, yeah, but there's a cap to what you can do on your own. Like you might be able to go make $500,000 on your own, but there's very few people that can go make $1 million by themselves. I've seen it, but they're rare. And I don't want to be that person anyway, because that person doesn't own a business or anything. They just have a very high paying job. And the moment you quit that job, your income stops. So I would never want somebody to stay in stage 1 making 250 by themselves. I want them to get to stage 2. Okay. And even in stage 2, let's just say they were still netting 250, but their margin was way less, right? Because they have these employees and everything else. But there's something better that happens. They start to get their time back. Instead of working all these hours, now they're getting their time back and they're still making the same amount. To me, that's a massive win, right? If you work the same, or if you work less hours and make the same money, you're doing great. Like for me, what I always think about is how do I increase my hourly income? Because that's the true measure of success. The true measure of success isn't how much gross profit you can make. The true measure of success isn't even how much net profit you can make. It's really about how much you can make per hour that you actually work. Because guess who's got the better life? The guy who makes, $500,000 a year working, 4 hours a week, or the guy making, $700,000 a year working 40 hours a week. Well, I would much rather take the guy working 4 hours a week, even though he's making less money, because on a per hour basis, that dude is making way more. And when you have time freedom, which is better than financial freedom, because you've achieved, by nature, if to get to time freedom, you had to have achieved financial freedom because you're not forced to work. You now have all the free time to choose to do what you want, right? So to me, I would rather take the guy who has time freedom, because now they can choose, hey, do I want to start another business? Do I want to scale this? Like, what's the next stage for me? Okay. WealthCon is coming to Hollywood. If you've ever been to any of my events, you know they're life-changing. We get the best speakers, we have the best venues, we have the best parties, after parties, and networking that you could imagine. I've met so many people who ended up becoming business partners of mine at my events. I've made great relationships, and the people who have attended have done the same. And so I want to see you at my next one in Hollywood, California, April 4th to the 6th. It's going to be absolutely incredible. We've got speakers like Chris Crone, Lewis House. We got Roe Built from Bigger Pockets. The list goes on and on. We have a huge lineup of speakers, and I want you to be there. So if you want to attend the event and learn more, go to wealthcon.org. Once again, you can go to wealthcon.org and go learn more about the event and register today. So during stage 2, the 2 critical elements are, number 1, you're managing people and hiring them, right? So you got to figure out, how do I get the right people who can help me grow the company and grow the revenue? And number 2, how do I start removing myself from a lot of these day-to-day things so I can focus on the things I want to focus on, or like kind of remove myself from the business and gain some of my time back to go spend with my family, on my hobbies, traveling, whatever the case is. That's what the Wealthy Way is about, right? Lifestyle. But it's very hard to build something like this because it takes a lot of skill. It takes skill to go hire people. It takes skill to build a business that can run without you. I talk about it, but I've never told anyone it's easy. So, during this stage 2 of manage, I want to see you get to $1 million net at whatever that core skill is. Okay, you figured it out as a solo guy. Now I want to see you figure it out as a person who's a boss, letting other people make the $1 million for you. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that you're just like completely removed from the business. No, but it does mean that, hey, if you used to be the project manager in your house flipping business, can you hire a project manager and have someone else do it? Can somebody else help you find deals beyond yourself? Can somebody else handle the paperwork and the emails? These are low paying tasks that you can delegate out. So that's what you need to get to. That's this stage 2. And once you have figured out how to get to stage 2 and make over $1 million net, it then leads to stage 3. Okay. So stage 3 is multiply. Okay. So stage 1, you figured out how to make $250 in one skill, solopreneur. Okay. Stage 2, you figured out how to go manage people, how to hire, how to remove yourself from certain things, how to hire people to grow your revenues and your net profit. You've made over $1 million. Okay. I really should put like a year's cap to it, but I mean, if you're making over $250 net and you graduated stage 1, then that means at a maximum, stage 2 takes you 3 years if you just stayed what you were doing. But, I think you guys can do it faster. So maybe stage 2 takes you a year. Maybe it takes you 2, right? But stage 3 is now multiply, okay? Once you have made over $1 million net, I would assume also that you're also living a very modest lifestyle, right? I don't want you to be making $250,000 and then spending $250,000. I want you to be saving money, okay? You want to go spend more money and live a dope lifestyle? Go make more money. That's what I want to say. I don't like when people just go spend all the money they get. They have no margin in their life. One aspect of the Wealthy Way is having margin. So if you're making $250,000, I mean, look, when I was making $250,000, I was still spending about $50,000-$60,000 a month. Not a month. Sorry, $50,000 a month is probably what I spend now. $50,000 to $60,000 a year. All right, that's what I was spending. I was spending about 20% of my income. So I was living very modestly and saving every dollar I had so that I could multiply it. Okay. Eventually, I started saving money. I was reinvesting that money into my business during the manage stage. But eventually, I made over $1 million. Like I said, in year 3, I made $750,000. And so I crossed the $1 million mark. Basically, it took me 3 years to get through stage 1 and 2. And then I went into stage 3. And this was in 2018. I went into stage 3. I said, now it's time to multiply. Now it's time to scale even bigger and start multiplying the cash. So this is where you really start investing. okay? Because you've built a business now. You've built a business that's going to spit off cash, and you know that you can live off that. You know that that's your bread and butter. For me, this was flipping houses, like I said. I built up this team, the system, got bread and butter. We're ready to roll. Well, now I got two ways to multiply. One is multiply the business even more, and two is multiply the money through investments and things that don't involve me. And so now you're starting to realize how to use money as the tool to make more money. Not your own time or skills, but money to make more money. So what do I mean by this? Well, you can multiply through reinvesting into the business and into the people. So you go out and hire more people. You go out and now spend more money on marketing. You get a bigger facility. You get, camera equipment because you're going all in on content. Like, you start investing in things, they're going to multiply the money your business makes. That's one way. The other way is by buying investments. And this is why I think real estate's the best way. Because as we said in stage one, if you have no skill right now, real estate's a great skill to learn, not only because it can help you get, past stage one, but it's a business that's always going to be around. So it's a stage 2 business, but it's also going to help you in stage 3 because now your business is making all this money and it's multiplying, or, you got past the managed stage, and now it's time to go multiply the money. So you're going to go start actually buy and hold real estate, whether it be Airbnbs, whether it be commercial, single family, whatever, right? You're now going to multiply the money through your investments. And this is why I waited to actually start buying rental properties, because here's like kind of my story a little bit. When I first got into real estate investing, this was in 2015, I remember listening to Bigger Pockets, and everybody was like, oh, you got to get passive income. You got to start buying cash flowing rentals. Flipping is bad because it only happens once. And I remember there like thinking in my mind, I'm like, dude, this makes no sense. Why would I like get this property I have that I could go flip and make 20 grand on and not do it? And then just go in and save the property as like an investment that's going to make me $200 a month. Like, the $200 a month ain't going to change my life, and I'm still going to be broke because I didn't flip. I didn't make any active income. And this is a big issue that a lot of people have because like they're told this story of like, well, buy a rental here, buy a rental there, like, and just keep saving up every year. And it's like, nah, dude, go figure out how to make $250, live on very little of it, then figure out how to grow that $250 to $1 million doing the same thing. Just do it better. Once you've done that, then start thinking about using your money to invest and make more money. But until then, you need to be building your skills and your business. Okay. And so I never agreed with Bigger Pockets on that front and many of the speakers, because I was always like, bro, I would rather go make the 20 grand right now in this house, take the 20 that I just made and go buy another house. Now I'm going to take that 20 after I flip that, and then I'm going to go buy 2 more, and I'm going to go scale this business so that it can actually make some real money and I can change my life. Because one rental property that makes me $200 a month is not going to change my life. I'm still going to be broke, even though my net worth might have went up. Okay. So I never agreed with that philosophy, and I lived that way. I did not focus on buying rentals at all my first 3 years in the business. I might have bought like 1 or 2 because at that point I had passed like the millionaire mark, but I was still so heavily focused on reinvesting every dollar I had into people, into deals, into everything. Because, flipping is a very capital intensive business. I had to have cash on hand to go buy flips and, do those things. So it wasn't until 2018 that I really started buying some rentals. I bought some more properties in Big Bear. I bought my first 10-unit apartment that year. I bought a lot of things because I was like in the multiply stage for the first time, where it was like, look, I can now take some of this cash and start parking it in some of these assets because I don't need it to like grow my business. My business can grow without having this capital. And so I was doing both. I was basically taking the capital I had, buying some rentals and different things, and eventually those did multiply. That 10-unit building I bought in 2018, I paid $300,000 for it. 3 years later, I sold it for $1.2 million. Okay. I bought a bunch of Airbnbs in Big Bear, 2018, a couple in 2017 too. Those properties have appreciated probably over $1.5 million between just those properties I bought those years. Plus, they ended up making Airbnb cash flow over the years. So my money was multiplying over the years starting to do this. But I was only in that position because I took the proper path, right? I would never have been able to afford buying those properties if I did not build my business in stage 1 and stage 2 and start like making a lot of active income to support my lifestyle and to also have enough cash on hand to actually take advantage of these opportunities. And something also happened in 2018 during that year too. I started to open up new businesses. I opened up Forever Home Realty, my real estate brokerage back then. I opened up Future Flipper, my first education company. 2019, I opened up True Books. We started it. And so like in the end, the path I went on was very much like the path that was kind of controversial at the time because most people were saying, dude, no. Like you need to go buy assets now. And I saw a lot of my friends doing that. And they were trying to like build this passive income from the beginning, and it was too soon. You can invest too soon and it'd be bad. Okay. When I see people with these 401ks and them talking about building their retirement accounts and stuff, and they're not making any money, I'm like, look, unless you plan to like never make money and you're just going to have a W-2 your whole life and whatever, cool. Like I get it. Like take the Dave Ramsey approach or the millionaire next door approach, right? And just work your job, live way below your means for your entire life, and then like you'll be a millionaire in 20 years. That's what you could do. And you can get to becoming a millionaire that way. And I'm not hating on anyone that does that. Like actually I have more like props to you because it's such a hard path to deny yourself and to deny like spending and different things, to have that much discipline to become a millionaire that way. But if you're watching this podcast or listening, I would assume that's not you, right? You'd be listening to Dave Ramsey if that was the case. Okay. I would assume you are somebody who would rather try and figure out how to get rich quick. And getting rich quick is not a bad thing. I got rich quick, okay, because I followed this framework of make, manage, multiply. I didn't get rich quick because I freaking hit the lotto on crypto. I didn't hit the like lotto itself. I didn't get rich quick because I got lucky and all of a sudden something happened that made me a lot of money. No, like it was pure work of developing my skills and taking an unconventional path. I realized that I did not need to go build passive investment, things right away. I realized that I needed to make a lot of money actively in order to go like live a good lifestyle and to go buy investments. How are you going to buy investments with no money? You got to get money somehow, right? And so I realized I had to focus on one thing. And so I focused on becoming the best house flipper I could be. And that made me $250,000. And I got past stage 1. Then I got to stage 2 where I learned how to hire people and manage, right? And I learned how to, even though like make less net profit, how to build the business and take myself out of it. And eventually the net profits started to increase as we scaled. And I was making more money than I would have made by myself. And I was spending way less time, right? That transition period's hard because when you first start paying people, you do make less money. But over time, once your revenues double, triple, quadruple, yeah, even though your net margin is a lower percentage, the overall net you made is significantly more. But most importantly, if you do it right, your hours and the amount of money you make per hour increases. Like I said, that's the metric I track. Is like, dude, what's my hourly rate? How much am I making per hour? Because that tells me I'm doing the right things, right? I'm managing correctly. And then you go into the multiply stage and you start saying, well, I've got a very successful business here. I've built something really nice. What's next? How do I want to multiply? Do I want to take my business to the moon? Do I want to start a new business? This is the only time I would say, hey, now in stage 3, you can start a new business. You can get your entrepreneur fix and start a new business. You want to go into a different space? You want to add a service? You want to get into coaching? Cool. Like, let's add a new business to the forefront. Okay. And, that's exactly what I did. I started adding new businesses. I started investing more into my businesses, investing more into hiring and scaling even bigger. I started buying more rentals, started buying commercial real estate. I started investing in equipment and things like this for social media, investing in my team. That was how I started to multiply. And it ended up being the right path. And so that's the stage I'm in today. I'm in stage 3 and I'm multiplying. And I'm thinking, how can I continue to multiply the money I have? How do I best use the resources to grow my businesses and my assets? And my businesses are my assets at this point. So I do know that like the most valuable thing I have is not my real estate. It's actually my businesses. How do I grow those? Because those will make me way more money than real estate will on a yearly basis and appreciation wise. If I ever choose to sell my businesses because I make them sellable and they've got growth and processes and systems and all these things, that'll make me way more than real estate ever could, because it just, the way businesses get the multipliers and the amount of money they make, it just is the way it is. Like the richest people in the world all own businesses. None of them really got there from just like real estate. And it's not to say real estate's bad. I love real estate. Like I'll continue to say that. It's just real estate's kind of like the slow grind to wealth, whereas owning businesses is like the giant way to wealth. But 99.9% will never sell a business and like build a business that's actually sellable. Like that's way more difficult to do than owning a lot of rental properties. And that's why most people go the rental property routes. And it's also why I go the rental property routes too. Like I'm not just putting all my eggs in businesses thinking like, oh, I'm just going to exit these businesses one day. It's going to be worth all this money. It's like, nah, I'm going to do a little bit of everything. I'm going to buy real estate. I'm going to buy businesses. I'm going to build my own businesses. I'm going to have this portfolio of assets that I understand. I understand business. I understand real estate. I don't really give a crap about stocks. In regards to crypto, I don't necessarily like investing in Ethereum or Bitcoin or these things. Like I think they're great, but I would rather invest in the other things that I have control of. And, when it comes to crypto, I believe in the businesses of crypto. Like I believe in the blockchain technology and everything else. And so like, I want to own crypto-based businesses. I don't necessarily need to own Ethereum and Bitcoin. Okay. So that's the framework. That is what I believe leads to wealth. At the end of the day, the overarching theme is I think everyone should live the wealthy way. I think you don't go broke trying to get rich. I think that you need to be abundant in all areas of life. It's not just about business, right? If you're trying to follow this business framework of make, manage, multiply, and you sacrifice your faith, your family, and everything else, your health, then I say don't try and get past stage 1 or stage 2. Whatever's like causing you to lose these other things, it's not worth it. All right. But if you're able to keep these things a priority as well as business, and you're able to scale from make to manage to multiply, then I think it's a beautiful thing. And that's kind of what I've been able to do with my life. And it's led to a lot of fulfillment and purpose. And, it allows me the freedom to do the things I want to do. And I'm super grateful for it. But, it's a framework that now after like looking back at my life and what I did and like what I truly believe as I talk to young people who are trying to figure out what they should do, it's become very clear to me. This is the path. Okay. You want to make money quick and you want to build your wealth fast. This is the path. It's not like figuring out how to save more money and invest in IRAs and all that. Like that stuff's cool if you're just trying to like, cap yourself on what you can make and then just like dwindle that down. But I think we can all make a lot of money. I think there's lots of ways to go make 250. I think there's lots of ways to make $1 million. You just got to believe that you can. And that's really all it takes. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. You want to figure out some ways to market your way to $1 million? I actually did a solo podcast I think you'll enjoy. So you can click that right here on the YouTube screen, and I'll see you on the next video.